Welcome to Legacy Cast, where we talk about your story, your way, and what are you doing to make sure that people know about you many generations from now. Good morning, Legacy Cast listeners. Welcome to the program where we talk about what matters to you, how to make sure that you're known for many generations from now, and really the things that you did that made a difference. I'm your host here with the program, James Snow, and I have with me today Jan Ohrstrom, who is a gentleman that I was just learning a little bit about. And Jan, if you just introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I need to correct you. My name's Jan.
Jan, okay.
But yeah, my name's Jan Ohrstrom, Army vet, pro wrestler, entrepreneur, and recently a film producer. Really, just released my first documentary, trying to build an empire.
Outstanding. And I love having veterans on here because we sort of have a unique sense of humor, and that's always fun to be able to dig into and discover a little bit more about. And so as the program would imply by its name, Legacy Cast, I'd like to begin with some questions pertaining to that. So what does having a legacy mean to you, Jan?
For me personally, it's having accomplished something that is passed down to at least my future generations, with something my kids can always look back and think of me, or grandkids, great-grandkids, and hopefully the veteran industry, the veteran demographic, because it's definitely an area that I have a passion about. And
Sure.
If I'm able to, through my projects, create even a minimal positive impact, I would consider that a big win. Sure.
And something that a lot of people, especially the non-veteran community, don't quite grasp is that for veterans, we signed on the dotted line. As the saying goes, we signed that blank check up to and including our own lives. When we enlisted, but in doing so, we were actually becoming part of something bigger than ourselves. And so, the whole concept of legacy is just what I've found in my experience is something that's just really part and parcel to who we are. We're already, that's already something that we're all about. We're all about doing something that's bigger than us, and it's going to last for a long time, because otherwise, we would have never taken that first step if we weren't that way. Mm-hmm. So, kind of given those little details, I would guess that you feel obviously that it's an important consideration that people spend time deliberating on, what their legacy is going to be and how to incorporate it.
Yeah, it's, the interesting part, what I have found, and this is definitely something I'm always still developing and working on, but, your legacy, there isn't a one size fits all approach to a legacy, right?
Sure,
Just like with many of the men and women we serve with, so many people have so many different fascinating traits and skills. And to harness those into a way that not only makes your life productive, but is something that passes on to the next generations of people, or as a society as a whole, is kind of unique challenge. I think in the past, I would say 15 years, we've really seen an explosion as far as like what veterans can do, and not only social work aspects with charities and and outreach and stuff like that. As you and I both know, the lift for the 22 veteran suicide a day is a big thing that's tackled by many people, as well as homeless veterans, and healthcare and stuff like that. But then you have other issues, other fascinating stuff, like a veteran who is great with their hands and can do crazy cool things with cars, turning that into a legacy, a positive influence for the next level of people. With me, I have found that my outlets, I'm very good at storytelling, and I'm very good at artistic outlets for how I handle like my PTSD and stuff. And I have found that has a positive relation to a lot of people. And so taking stuff like that and using it to help other people is a wonderful challenge, but it's definitely not an easy challenge. And it's one of those, if you can knock that out, you're really doing strides with creating a positive legacy.
Sure. And, something I like to tell a lot of people is, legacy doesn't have to just be, for example, with me being in financial world, it doesn't have to be just a financial legacy. It's what are you doing, in the big picture, maybe in your business or even, the things that you're doing, the teaching, the education, lessons that you're passing on to your children. It's much bigger than just one piece. It's, what have we done that made a difference for the next generation to make it better than the one that we're in? And so, that's really, I like to hear what you're saying, because, that's very, very much, where I kind of come from, is that, it is a big picture thing. It's, it's all the different parts that fit into the puzzle. So how would you say that kind of a mindset is something that you pull into what you do from a business standpoint?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest thing I had to really stand by was I had to not let other people tell me how I'm supposed to be. It's probably a really good example with you being in the financial markets. You talk to 10 people for financial advice, you'll get 10 different answers, I would imagine.
Sure.
But it's staying true to what is right and what is the right thing to do. And not to say that other people's advice or stuff is necessarily wrong, but if it's not you, it's not you. And when I started my company, Scars and Stripes, 3 years ago, a lot of people wanted to tell me how to run it, and it led to a lot of frustration. It led to a lot of unfulfillment. But when I started to step away from that and kind of run things how not only I wanted to run it, but give back how I wanted to give back, I felt myself more not only fulfilled, but I felt there was way more positive interaction with people. And then that led into being able to be a part of stuff, like being part of different charities that would help try to tackle the veteran suicide stuff, that would help raise food and all that stuff for homeless shelters, stuff like that. But all those doors weren't open when I wasn't being who I was supposed to be. And because I wasn't being how I was supposed to be, I wasn't using my talents and skills to the max potential. And so that would probably be the biggest thing is look who you are and how you want to do this, and stick to that. Because at the end of the day, it's really just you going through all of this.
Right. And I like how you put that. That actually is something that once I spend enough time to actually complete my ebook that I'm working on, it's what I call the big lie. It's listening to other people and their advice for how you should do your success, because you kind of pointed out 10 different financial people give you 10 different pieces of advice. If it's not built around you, then it's the wrong advice. It's something I tell people is this is your plan, this is your story, and if we're not telling your story, then we're not doing the right thing, and we need to just step away, because this has to be all about you. This isn't mine. This isn't my thing. It has to be your thing. And so that's what everyone should think about is how are you going to be able to do that for yourself, and really make that like you're saying, the story, make that story your story, because ultimately you're just doing something for somebody else. And it's never going to work if you do it that way.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So kind of looking at your business from the CEO standpoint, what would you say, maybe 2 or 3 things are that kind of keep you up at night or sort of bother you that you always want to be mindful of?
Well, from the operational standpoint, so with my company, it's a large part of it. The foundation was apparel, and it's fun. It's fun doing that. But then you look at the business side of it. There are a lot of veteran apparel companies out there, so it's trying to stay competitive. And there's only so many ideas that I could come up with. So it's like worrying about the next inspiration for idea that I could use on shirts and hats, and have it not only be cool and artistic and creative, but something I stand by. That's been a big thing for me. I don't put just anything on my stuff, and that has slowed business at times, but it's always made the quality so much better. So it's looking at that and trying to figure out how to sustain that, as well as how to try to grow. And later this year, we are unleashing, if everything goes to plan, which it looks like it's going to, we're unleashing our first alcohol line of bourbon. And then next year, we're hoping to get in the esports demographic. But all this stuff is new to us. And so, when you're going into a new business venture with more unknowns than knowns, the risk becomes pretty high. And then when you're talking about the financial side of it too, realistically, the company could lose tens of thousands of dollars if it goes wrong. And so it's stuff like that. When you have, when you're directly dealing with other people's lives and income, and you're taking this risk that you have a good feeling it'll pay off and it'll help your business go to the next realm of success. But if it fails, it's going to cost a lot, and that's something that, from the leader standpoint, that I do worry about. I do worry about how this will affect the people I work with.
Sure. So, obviously, from what you're saying, I would take it that you feel like it's very important that people kind of look at maybe a strategy and making sure that they do have a good roadmap.
Oh, I am a huge advocate for strategy. It's like no joke. And knowing strategy, taking the extra time to research not only what you're doing, but what you're up against, it prevents that shoot from the hip mentality, which in business is not going to do that well. It's going to have a real hard time succeeding and getting long-term steady customers and clientele and business. It's just strategy is the way to go. It always is. It always is and always will be, especially as times not only get tougher, but you look at any area you want to go to, all these companies and competitors you're against, they're using strategy. That's why they got to where they are. It wasn't an overnight process. It was very planned out as much as they could and to move forward. And so, yeah, I'm a huge advocate for strategy.
And, something, especially when I'm sitting down with people and, working out their planning is that, if they haven't done something ahead of time, then unfortunately they're kind of part of that 40% of people that end up liquidating their business when the hard times come, if you haven't put something in place ahead of time. So it's really, from what I see, very key that people do put something out there, because, it's like the saying goes, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And, I'm all about that. I would rather over plan and not need it than under plan and need the thing and basically be left there with your pants down, so to speak.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And I would imagine you probably see this a lot in the financial markets where people are talking about, they want to make $5 million, but they don't have any plan on how to invest it or how to save it or anything like that.
Yeah, not just that, but even things like, what happens if, the CEO becomes sick and they can't work? What's that going to do to your company? I mean, it's just, things from that standpoint, that a lot of people, especially as veterans, we have this infliction that's called 10 foot tall and bulletproof, that we feel like, nothing's going to happen to us. We survived our service, but now, we can survive anything. But unfortunately, that there could be nothing further from the truth. Mm-hmm. And people just need to look at it as, we are human, we are, a creature that can get sick, can get injured, things can happen. And, if we don't plan for that, then all of the energy that we put into what we built is basically just, wasted energy, because you've got to make sure that you have that parachute before you jump.
That's a good way to put it. That's a really, really, really good way to put it. Never thought about it like that. Yeah.
So since we probably have some new entrepreneurs out there, people starting their business, maybe the first 1 to 5 years that are listening in today, what would you say some of the things that they should be looking out for? Maybe the specific roadblocks that they should be watching out for. What would you recommend that they be keeping an eye out on?
I have seen a lot of, unfortunately, way more people than I thought in their first 1 to 3 years of business